We are taking a closer look at the issues that matter this election season, including the tremendous surge in opioid addiction in this country. Rick Leventhal, live in Manchester, New Hampshire, where heroin has become a huge problem. So, Rick, tell us what you're seeing on the ground there in Manchester.
Martha, some call this ground zero in the heroin opioid epidemic, with more addicts and more overdose deaths per capita here than almost anywhere in America. And earlier this week, we spent time with federal agents from the Drug Enforcement Administration along with Manchester police who are trying to battle this crisis on the streets by arresting buyers with the goal of tracing the drugs back to the dealers and then to the distributors to try and cut off the flow. Meanwhile, firefighters are finding themselves on the front lines because they're trained paramedics, so they're dispatched to overdose calls 3 to 5 times every single shift, and instead of fighting fires, they're now trying to resuscitate OD victims.
You've been with the Manchester Fire Department 32 years.
32 years, yes.
Ever seen anything like this?
Never seen anything like this. Never.
The chief says they've answered more than 600 OD calls since January, with more than 80 deaths just this year alone here in Manchester, Martha.
It's just unbelievable. I just want to repeat what you said, Rick, that on every shift, these firemen who are there to put out fires, is their primary responsibility, of course, are going on 3 to 5 overdose calls to deal with patients. So, you know, in terms of treatment and fixing this problem, where are we going with that?
Well, in fact, the Manchester Fire Department was answering so many of these calls, they decided to turn around and try to bring the problem back to them. They decided to encourage anyone with a substance abuse problem just walk into any firehouse to come here before they OD and get fast-tracked into a substance abuse program. It's a program called Safe Station. They've already drawn hundreds of people just since May, usually several people every single day coming into the firehouse looking for help. We met a woman named Erin who was one of them, and she told me that she desperately wants to kick the habit.
I'm not a bad person. I just made bad choices. But I'm not going to give up on myself.
Martha, this is a national problem. More people are dying from drug overdoses every year than car crashes. Almost 50,000 OD deaths nationwide every single year. So this is obviously a huge problem for whoever moves into the White House next January.
It is extraordinary and awful, and as you say, a national problem. I think everybody knows somebody who has lost a child or a relative to heroin overdoses, and it's incredible. Thank you for that reporting. Thank you, Rick.